Y'all, yesterday I was in a training titled Foreclosures and Short Sales. And I'll tell you, foreclosures and short sales, the topic just sounded to me so interesting. It's something that I just wanted to know a little bit more about. But my reasoning for taking the class absolutely was not to work with banks and to list properties that they have confiscated because people could not pay their mortgages. That is not my intent at all. I took the class because I was interested in it. In New Orleans for a couple of days for a real estate conference, and it was one of the sessions. But really, it was so interesting. And here are some things to keep in mind. I took lots of notes. Crazy enough that one thing seems to be for certain, and that's the fact that as a society and as a generation, we have gotten more and more and more into debt. And so with more people overspending the money that they take in from their job, the more they're getting into the situation where they become house poor. And then every lender is different, every bank is different, but it comes to a point in time where if a person hasn't paid their mortgage over whatever that time happens to be with that particular bank, they take it back and it's foreclosed upon. And so this is an interesting statistic that in 1970, the average home price was $17,000. Isn't that crazy? Think about that for a minute. I hear people say all the time, I'm going to wait to buy a home until the prices come down. Guys, if the future looks anything like the past, the price of real estate will continue to rise, just like everything else is continuing to rise. Think about the price of a gallon of milk, just a couple of years ago as opposed to what it is now. There's no rhyme or reason to the expenses. So in 1970, the average price of a house was $17,000. That number in 1980, which was only 10 years later, the average sale of a house was $48,000. So it went from $17,000 to $48,000 in the span of only 10 years. Now, in 1980, the average interest rate in 1980 was 16.6. Think about that for a minute. The interest rate in 1980 was 16.6. So right now, the interest rates are what? In the 5, 6, 7s, depending on what your credit score is. But the price of a house, I would say, in Acadia Parish, where I live and work, the average house price is around $225. Now, the average buyer in Acadia Parish, I get the call every day. And when I say to people, how much is your budget? How much are you pre-approved for? The vast majority of people is, I am pre-approved for $200,000. That's my max budget. Now that's today in Acadia Parish. The question that I get asked most of the time is, can you find me a home that is under $200,000, that's on land, that's in a great neighborhood where I don't have close neighbors? And guys, that is very hard to find, okay? The purpose of this video is this. If you are in a situation, maybe you're going through a divorce, maybe you've lost your job or you've changed jobs, maybe someone has passed away, and for some reason you cannot afford the current house mortgage that you are paying right now. Listen to me very carefully. You do not want to either, number one, file bankruptcy because it's going to ruin your credit. You do not want the mortgage company or the lender or the bank or whoever has the loan on your house to confiscate it, because that has ruined your credit. You do not want that to happen. So if you are in a situation where you are house poor and you are needing a change, you're needing to either sell your house and buy something cheaper, you're needing to sell your house and rent for a little while, whatever the case may be, you're going through a divorce. Like, there's so many different reasons. You do not want to foreclose on your house. You do not want that to happen. So call a real estate agent in your area who you know, like, and trust, who can come up with a plan to help you get out of where you are and get into something that you can afford, okay? Some other things I'm going to share with you that I learned yesterday in the class. This was interesting when he said this. The trainer, I forget his name. He was so interesting. He was so good. He said, there are 3 kinds of lies, according to Mark Twain. Lies, damn lies, and statistics. If you watch the news today, you will feel like the world is coming to an end. Listen, if you're looking for good things, you will find good things. And if you're not in a good situation, the only way you're going to change the situation is if you come up with a plan, a proactive plan to get you into a better situation. And you do that by surrounding yourself with people who are going to support you, who are going to help you figure out a way. There's a way out of everything. So this class was called Foreclosures and Short Sales. And a short sale, which I thought I knew what it was, but I wasn't exactly sure. A short sale is, let's just say, you currently owe $200,000 on your house, right? But you meet with a real estate agent or an appraiser or something, and they say to you, listen, it's never going to sell for the amount that you owe on it. Let's say you owe $200,000 and you meet with professionals who say the amount that you're going to get on this house today is only $175,000. So a short sale is when you come up with a plan with the bank that you say, listen, I'm going to sell this house, but I know I'm going to come up short. I owe you $200,000, but I'm only going to probably net $175,000. Will you just be fine with the $175,000 and write off the remaining, and be fine when I give you a check to pay off the house for $175,000. Now, you as the seller are coming out with no money at all. You're breaking even. You're paying off the loan, but hopefully it is enough to help you not go into really bad credit issues, right? So remember this, with the foreclosure, people call me all the time wanting to get a good deal on a home, and they're looking for a foreclosure or a home to flip, and they have a loan that's some kind of government loan. So it's a VA loan, an FHA loan, a USDA loan, an RD loan, those kinds of loans. And they don't understand that most of the time, not all the time, but the vast majority of the time, by the time a house goes up for sale by a bank as a foreclosure, it is sat empty. Maybe people have broken into it, which means it has broken windows. Maybe it's sat up for a long time and it has peeling paint or rotten wood. The electricity has probably not been on for a while, which means in South Louisiana, with the humidity we have, the mold and the mildew and all the things are now living and breathing in that house, right? So when you're thinking about getting a good deal, sometimes it's not. But if you have some kind of government loan, the ones I just mentioned, 9 times out of 10, those types of government loans, that house in that condition that's considered a foreclosure is never going to qualify for a government loan. So if you have a loan that's FHA, VA, USDA, RD, those government loans, when the appraiser goes out, they're looking at the condition of the home, and is it safe? So does it have peeling paint, rotten wood, broken windows, handrails missing on the staircase, those kinds of things? Foreclosures probably are not going to qualify for those, all right? And that's the misconception I hear from people all the time, is I'm pre-approved for $200,000, I have a government loan, but I want a foreclosure, I want something that I'm going to use to either fix up or flip or whatever. That's usually not the case. So a foreclosure, lots of times people think they're getting a good deal. Well, when you list a home as a regular seller One of the things that you are required to fill out is called a property disclosure, which means as the seller, that property disclosure is going to say, has the home ever flooded? Have you ever had electrical issues, plumbing issues? Has the roof ever had any damage? Has it ever had termites or any other kind of wood destroying insects? With a foreclosed property that the bank is usually selling, you as the buyer are not going to get a filled out property disclosure because the bank has never lived inside the house. So you're buying this house and you know nothing about it, right? So that's also a negative thing when you're buying a foreclosure. You're basically buying it without knowing anything about it. Now you can ask the neighbors, has it ever flooded? You can ask the neighbors, do you think it's had has it had roof damage? All those things, right? But you do not have a property disclosure. That's a disadvantage. So remember this. If you're going through a situation where you're not able to pay your house note, and I call that house poor, you don't want to lose the house. You don't want the bank to take over the note because then your credit is going to suck for a good while. If you're in that position, give a real estate agent who you know, like, and trust. Get them on board to help you come up with a plan. If you're in my area, listen, I'll list almost anywhere in Louisiana. Anywhere I'm willing to drive to Louisiana and I can help you. Absolutely. But if you live in an area and you know a good real estate agent who you trust and you know can help you get the job done, give them a call because you don't want to lose it, right? Okay, so listen. I am in New Orleans today. I have trainings going on all day. I'm so excited. One of the first ones this morning is called something about negotiations. I love negotiating. Absolutely love it. If you are thinking about buying or selling in the future and you do not like negotiating, you want a real estate agent on your side who loves it, all right? Make sure you have someone on your side because if you're the seller, that person can help you make a ton of money. If you're the buyer, they can help you save a whole lot of money. Remember this, in real estate, there are no stupid questions. Make sure you associate yourself with a real estate agent who is going to answer question after question after question after question, because the only way you're going to learn is if you ask those hard questions. Listen, I just got into real estate 5.5 years ago. I retired from the education system. I knew zero about real estate. And so I asked questions of every single person that I could surround myself with that I knew was doing an amazing job in real estate. And that's the only way to find out the answers to those questions. Y'all have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'm hoping that I learned some good stuff in the negotiation class this morning, and I forgot the name of the one this afternoon, but I'm sure it's going to be amazing. I will be back tomorrow to share some good information with you. Y'all have a great, great rest of your day.